My name is Attila Korompai. I am a research fellow at the John von Neumann University and also a fellow from the Corvinus University of Budapest for more than 55 years. And I have experiences in future studies, regional development, regional science, and particularly in strategic development for individual regions and settlements, and also have experiences in territorial impact studies. This presentation is going to deal with a kind of special impact study on the tourism, how important is the tourism and how the over-specialization of tourism is dangerous in special cases when and how could it be not so the dangers, but how could it be managed with a kind of diversification in the area, or is it at all possible on the example of the Lake Balaton area in Hungary? The problem is presented at first as some general theoretical questions, and then I take into the example of the Lake Balaton in connection with particularly how the specialization is appearing in connection with the various entrepreneurs considering the economic structure of the area. I took the example of the water, as the sea, sun, sand tourism is one of the most popular way of tourism, and in our country it is also very popular, and this can be transformed as water, sand, and sand tourism, which has important components which are connected with the water. That is the water service, the body of the water bed and the bottom, which has special characteristics depending on the type of the lake, the flora and the fauna, either in the lake, the water flora and the water fauna, but also at along the shores of the lake, the waterfront, the direct direct background, the settlements, and in the hinterland, the settlements, considering their natural, constructed, social, economic, cultural, and other features which could be important for the tourist attractions. If we look at the characteristics, we can say that all are highly sensible to climate change owing to the different directions. I mean that the extreme type of values, or even for the global warming or other events which are affecting the selected area. Other special features which are very closely connected with the water tourism, that it is a highly localized monopoly, because the lakes and this water opportunities, either the riverside or special lakes, or even if it is connected with some special thermal water, it is a kind of monopolized structure within the territory or within the settlements. It is not dissolves owing to the consumption, but its value is growing if the consumption, if the demand is growing. However, it is a serious danger that not only the changes in connection with the water body, but also it has critical points in connection with the consumption, as the internal capability and the assimilation capability of the area and the lake, the way of utilization, how intensive is the utilization, what are the technical conditions of the utilization. All these will influence in a mutual interdependence with the impact of the climate changes. The water tourism is highly characterized with a seasonality problem, which means that there are periods when the tourism is one can say, specialized activity of the area. On the other side, there are seasons when or periods when the tourists disappear from the area, and in this case, the either economic and other living conditions for the inhabitants are suffering from some deficiencies. If we look at the types of demand in connection with tourism, we can say that all these opportunities have a common characteristics. That means that within the individual types and considering all the types, there is an opportunity for offering a kind of diversity, either from the aspect of the tourists, from the aspect of the tourists, and also from the aspect of the population and for the entrepreneurs in the local economic environment. Considering the changes in utilization, relationship between the utilization and the value of the tourist area and the tourist attraction, we can see that the higher the utilization, the value is increasing until a certain level. But while the utilization is approaching to the saturation level, the value is beginning to decrease, and after it is very near to the saturation, even if it is over the saturation level, the circumstances will become worse and worse, and in this case the value can radically decrease of the territory, which may create serious economic and social problems in the area. Considering the diversification, there are many aspects. The main aspects are the product itself, that is the attraction point, the market, what are the interested fields, who are the visitors, the tourists, or the tourist market, the regional aspect, that means the territorial aspect, the intra-regional and interregional aspects, and also the most important, perhaps, the sectoral one, which is considering the sectors within the tourism sector and considering the other non-tourist sectors. If we take into consideration that the water tourism, the activities in the water tourism and the entrepreneurs in the water tourism are in the area where the water tourism is the most significant element. That means that the area is highly specialized to tourist activities. The entrepreneurs are concentrating to tourist sectors. Other sectors are less important. However, this means that owing to the seasonality, these entrepreneurs will suffer in a period when it is an off-season. In this case, they will have difficulties. Therefore, I think that considering the diversification of this highly specialized area, it was to look at how the regional diversification is connected with the sectoral diversification, as it can be seen on the screen. That there is an important relation between the regional and the sectoral diversification across non-tourist sectors. And this study and presentation is concentrating on this division. And if we look at the sectoral and territorial relationship, the specialization, the sectoral specialization is connected with a kind of territorial isolation. In this case, this type of specialization could be highly dependent for a kind of monoculture or self-supply. Self-supplying closely connected when it is to a certain degree it is inviable environment, economic environment in a way, because in our days a kind of territorial isolation is almost impossible, considering the ever growing interdependencies on certain regional and even on global level. So the territorial openness should be considered, and in this case the specialization is closely connected with a kind of integration process, how integrated into the region, into the larger area. And on the other side, if there is a sectoral diversification, in this case the isolation is resulting in a kind of autark structure and autark economy, while the openness is promoting the networking and the connectedness into the global environment. Another important factor is the carrying capacity for the tourist regions and in all other territorial things, and also the economics of scale of individual units, producing units. If there are many producing units, entrepreneurs, one can say, or producing different type of products, it could be useful, but if it is approaching to the carrying capacity, it could result a fragmented structure. While on the other side, as the economies of scale is increasing, there are larger production units, the profit is increasing, while at the lower end, when there are small companies, the profit is less size. There are that's one can say is changing, particularly if we connect it with the innovation character, but considering the supply of for consumers and the number of consumers which are able to use the individual. This is particularly valid for different type of services. So the essential point is that in a smaller scale, fragmented structure. In a larger scale, the larger level of profits, a specialized structure can be characteristic for the individual region. In the middle, where the profit is at the middle level and the structure is also at for the economies scale is at the middle level, in this case a kind of diversified structure could be dominant. In Hungary, we can see that along the rivers and the large lakes here, also typical that many resort areas are connected to various degree to water utilization. Even in other areas, for example, in mountainous areas, there are places which are highly connected to water tourism. For example, in the southern part of the Bük Mountains, here in the southern part, you can see that there are quite well-known spas and other places which are connected with some thermal water, but also along the Tisza River there are also significant places which are connected evidently to the water tourism. The highly preferred, centrally preferred touristic regions in Hungary are closely are also connected to some degree, but the main generating idea is not the water in these areas, but the most dependent from the water is the Lake Balaton area in the middle of the Transdanubian territory, which is directly dependent on the water body of the Lake Balaton. The water-based resort places, if we look at these places, altogether they represent a quite high share in various indicators of tourism. But if we don't take into account the number, the tourist data without Budapest, which is the most complex and mostly preferred tourist object for either for Hungarian, but particularly for foreign tourists. This means that there is a strong decrease. However, Budapest is also connected to water because it is a spa city in a way. One can say it is the third capital on the world which is connected to the thermal water opportunities. And also, if we don't take into consideration Budapest and the Balaton region, we can see that the share of the places and the tourist indicators will highly decrease considering the national averages. This means that these two places, and particularly Lake Balaton, is an important factor. The research questions concerning this Balaton area were how the development strategies promote the balanced, integrated, sustainable development in the region. How are these connected to the tourism, and how are the factors of tourism attraction localized in the region, particularly along the shoreline and in the hinterland of the Lake Balaton, and do they promote a kind of diversification to solve the seasonality problem, and is there any opportunity, or at present what is the typical situation in connection with the diversification in the area? This is a preliminary research. The key problems of the region are connected to the specialization of tourism. Therefore, the sectoral and territorial concentration is analyzed with some indicators. These are the location quotient, the concentration is analyzed with the Hirschman-Herfindahl index and also the location quotient, and the diversification is analyzed with the relative variance and the Shannon formula. Concerning the documents, the visions of the future in the planning documents for Balaton region, they have almost each one has a kind of vision statement, but they are highly concentrating on tourism. This is a kind of main generating idea in the region. The main objectives are to increase the data, to increase the number of tourists, to increase the supply, the conditions which are promoting the tourism, and so on. The latest documents have already some principles which are which offer a kind of possibility to create some diversity either within the tourism sector and also cooperation and development of other non-touristic sectors into the activities of the area. The priorities are, as I mentioned, are mainly connected with the tourism activities, the water, the sport, the gastro and cultural tourism, while the infrastructural development is also concentrated on the tourists as to increase the number of visitors and to decrease the seasonality. But to decrease the seasonality is also concentrating on the opportunities which are offering some touristic attraction and not connected to promote the development of other activities. This is an important and interesting problem that the touristic opportunities the entrepreneurs, the local entrepreneurs, are less participating. They are participating and using, but the value that is generated through their activities is not local entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs which are investing in the area and utilizing the opportunities, and the income, the money goes out from the region in a significant part, and this could be a kind of problem. The development objectives of the region include the branding, development of branding as a Lake Balaton area. The main idea in this sense is that the Balaton area must be a kind of touristic center, but also it has to ensure some preferable living conditions for the local people, the local entrepreneurs. This is a great question, that how this can be done, not only with the tourists, but also promoting the sector development in other economic sectors. The environmental protection is a significant and important point, as to preserve these conditions to have the tourism activities which is connected to the water basin, but also the environment which is not so much connected with the tourism activities, but also, as we shall see, the economic activities particularly in the hinterland are not so much connected with the tourism, but there are particularly the agriculture is significant. So the agricultural conditions and the environmental conditions to utilize these are also significant from the aspect of protecting the environment. The income basis of the region is reflected in this map as in the northeastern part is the best opportunity, one can say, with the mountainous areas and the western part, and particularly the southern part, is suffering as the lower level income for individual personal tax income is reflected in the distribution. Concerning the diversity, the sectoral diversity is decreasing to a certain degree in the settlement area which is located near the Lake Balaton, but the location quotient is not so different. It is very near to 1. That means that the diversity is not to is characterized with not too great changes in the settlements which are located in this area, but on the other side, the concentration of activity is increasing much more intensively as the diversity is decreasing. This means that several activities are much more concentrated in several settlements and are much more dominant, much more dominant in that settlement, as the diversity is not so intensively changes. If we look at the same graph in the hinterland area, we can see that the sectoral diversity is decreasing much more dynamically, and on the other side, that is interesting that contrary to the previous area, here the sectoral concentration is less decreasing or changing. The location or quotient of the sectoral concentration is less. This means that in this area the sectoral division is more or less equal. There are not so great changes, and while the diversity is decreasing, this meaning indicating that the entrepreneurs have less and less different sectors in a village or in a settlement which is located in the hinterland area. If we look at the dynamics, that means the changes in the period between 1995 and 2021, we can see that at the shoreline settlements, the concentration, which is reflected in the blue line, is decreasing the concentration of registered areas, but the relative variance is decreasing much more intensively. That means that the diversity is decreasing. This means that even if the concentration is staying at a relatively high level, one can say, the entrepreneurs are much more and more specialized in a way. That means that owing to the decreasing diversity indicates that the entrepreneurs are more and more concentrating to the same type of activities. If we consider the same curve in the hinterland area, we can see that the concentration is decreasing much more dynamically in the area, while the diversification, that is the relative variance, is of changes, is stagnating after 2020. That means that their economic structure to a certain degree has been stabilized in a way. There is no significant differences occurring during this period. Concerning the attraction forces, we can say that in the architectural heritage, elements are dominant in the hinterland area, while in the shoreline they have only 36% more, while on the other side there is now more or less 50% their share as the attraction. The second most important attractive force is the hospitality and gastronomy, representing a little bit more than 20% in the shorelines, but less, about 13% and in the hinterland area. The third one is the institutions and events which are organized for various touristic, artistic events and community activities, festivals and like these type of events are typical. They are much more typical in the settlements which are located along the shoreline, and the next one is the institutions and infrastructure, public spaces for sport, traveling, health, and way of life activities. These are also dominant in the shoreline settlements, and much less are typical in the hinterland area. What are the conclusions? The conclusions are important, that we have to, at first, we have to ensure the accessibility to attractions. This is important in a sense that, particularly in the hinterland area, some of the possible attractions are not available owing to the deficiencies in the transport and in the road network. And also the public transport is suffering some deficiencies in this area. A target-oriented development of inner conditions influencing the utilization of potentials. Here it is connected with a kind of economic development opportunities for ensuring a kind of economic sustainability of the different attractive factors. On the other side, concerning particularly the water body, but also the natural environment and to a certain degree the architectural and the built environment. Also, we have to enforce the rules and their operation to preserve the nature and facilities, to give an opportunity for environmental sustainability. The continuous attention have to be paid to competitors, replacing different type of opportunities. This is important also for those touristic opportunities which are connected with the water body, but owing to the weaknesses of other sectors, this is another important aspect for the development or promotion of these other sectors which are directly or indirectly connected to the tourism sector or tourism activity, but maybe that they could be different from the tourism, offering some diversity in the region and a kind of stability and eliminating the seasonal character of the region, the regional economy in the operation. Also, a regular, as concerning the marketing, a regular supervision of changes in demand is necessary, and managing the opportunities in a way that is the whole area, the whole economy and society and its natural environment must be considered as an interdependent, compact system. This means that developing one activity is not independent from all the other factors. So it means that even if an entrepreneur is highly interested in the development of its own business, for the most effective and the greatest result, not only for themselves but also for the whole community, it has to take into consideration all the other activities and the conclusions and the consequences of its activity on the other partners or even the conditions which are influencing its operation. So therefore, the cooperation with the local and external actors who are directly or indirectly able to influence the water body of the lake, thinking and working in this sense on the functional area. This means that the Lake Balaton has a water basin, and in the water basin, all activity which is done in the water basin is influencing the body of the Lake Balaton. Therefore, there should be a kind of cooperation, particularly in the environmental aspect, that how the environmental pollution is going on in the water basin and what is the impact on these activities to the Lake Balaton. So all the activities have to be done in that way that even it is far from the Lake Balaton, but in the water basin, it has to take into consideration these aspects. And in this, consequently, the main requirement is the cooperation for developing tourist activities and non-tourist oriented activities. This type of cooperation is a key point in the whole development processes. Thanks for your attention.